Awakened, Conscious Conversations podcast to help you grow and discover who you are, to develop a deeper, more complete side of yourself via conscious talks, self-love, meditation, and by interviewing some of the most inspiring guests on the planet. shamanichealings.earth for more information. Hello everybody. So I got up bright and early this morning. I've been up since 3:30 and travelled because I wanted to share this special episode with you today. And I can't wait for you to meet this next guest virtually. So we hit the 250 episode mark earlier this week. So I'm having a bit of a celebratory month. And this is episode 251. And we're on season 19. And I believe this is episode 7. And we're going to be talking today about the alchemy of beauty, how spirituality and self-care transform how we show up. And I think it's really important how we show up in life. And we've got a very specialist person on the show today, and she lights every room up that she goes into with her natural, uplifting and wonderful personality. And Nina was trained by the BBC, and she's worked in the professional makeup artistry industry for over 37 years. She's worked with iconic directors to high-end feature films and commercials. And she specializes in professional makeup that is natural and also character makeup. And I know she's done the likes of Liz Hurley to all other stars, and even the makeup on Red Dwarf, which is a program that I used to like watching a while ago. Nina has had a very exciting life. She did relocate to New York back in 2014, but then decided to come back to the UK. I won't tell you everything because I'd like her to share it in her own words. But on her website, one of the quotes is that her approach is more than superficial. It's about helping you feel comfortable, confident, and truly your best. So I thought, what better person to speak to us today about the alchemy of beauty, how spirituality and self-care can transform how we show up. Without further ado, please welcome the one and only Nina Gan to the show. Welcome, Nina.
Hi, Jane. Thank you. Thank you for having me on the show.
Would you mind just sharing a bit about your journey so far and your own life's experience on this path?
Yes, sure. Well, I started doing makeup. I got into the BBC as a trainee, got in my 20s. And that again was it was a decision. I think all the decisions I've ever made that have changed my life have been snap decisions. They haven't been really well thought out. So I decided I wanted to be a makeup artist. And actually I got in to the BBC. And at that time, you did 2 years training, and they employed 120 makeup artists full time. So, we were doing big shows. So you learned on that. You learned everything on that, really. Wigs, period. It was a really beautiful and complete training. Then after a few years, I left and went freelance. And then I got into commercials because basically I had a baby just before I was 30 and I needed to be more regular. And also I liked the vibe of commercials. They were kind of short and sweet and fun, and it was lively. And I did that for more or less up until now, but with big breaks in between. So my 30s was really about raising a child and working and enjoying life, I guess, as was my 40s. Then in my late 40s, I went to my husband, my ex-husband, was offered the chance to run an office in New York, and it was a big jump, but I felt that we had to make that change. For me, probably the hardest part was giving up my career, even though over the years I got to the point where I tore my rotator cuff. overstretching, and every time I worked, I'd have to have downtime. And I remember one job, it was okay, it was fine, a little bit painful, and I was making up Usain Bolt. And
wow.
he's, I'm 5'2" and he's 6 foot whatever. And I
Wow.
stretched up to reach his neck, and something happened to my shoulder. And as I brought it down, my elbow stayed by my ribs, and for 3 weeks it was stuck there. So that was kind of an indication that it was time to move on. But I've been in the industry so long, I liked the lifestyle. I didn't know what to move on to, and then this chance of a new life in New York came up, and we went for it. And it was a chance for me to kind of rest and rethink, or supposed to be. But in that time, my daughter got pregnant. My husband became an absolute stranger. I think it was probably the worst time in my life, and also the most, should we say, exciting time. I mean, it was lovely to be there, but the worst things happened to me. So I found myself coming back 2 years later on my own, having to restart again. And I didn't want to be in the same house with the same job, but without my family, as it were. And so I guess I was broken, to be honest. I think that one broke me more than my mum dying, because somehow when somebody dies, you can carry on. You can, there's a beauty in that grief. But the shock of my whole life being turned upside down again, moving one place, setting up, spending 2 years getting that together, then having to set up again was quite devastating, and threw me more than I ever thought it could. So that's when I discovered gong baths, because sometimes you're at a stage where yoga is doing something, anything, meditation, you can't access it. Your mind is too busy, and the gong bath it requires nothing of you. And sometimes that's what you need. And that kind of enabled me to build up again my strength. And then I went back to kundalini, which also is just amazing for bringing back, making you resilient, really, and moving forward.
So that's Kundalini yoga, listeners, which is a very energetic form of yoga. Wow.
It's quite a special form of yoga. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But if you embark on it, it really does I think Kundalini yoga saw me through the death of my father. It made me balanced enough to, and strong enough. It gives you a very internal strength, as well as physical, because it's quite energetic, we say.
Amazing. And I know that you've got clients like TikTok and LinkedIn on your books. So that sounds quite a difficult journey that you went through, and it's such an inspiring story that you've shared so far. From makeup artistry as well as yoga and sound healing, how have you put these passions, how have you shaped the way that you think about beauty and self-expression?
Well, I think they're all it's very interlinked, isn't it? I mean, I don't think, I don't think beauty is, they say it's skin deep, but it's absolutely not. It's the beauty that comes from you. It's the energy. It's all about your energy. You can see it's not the most beautiful woman in the world that you walk past and you notice. It's the one with the confidence. It's the one with that something you can't quite put your finger on. Well, the gong baths reset everything in you, and they bring you back to you. They give you that peace, I would say. After having, gone to gong baths for about a year, I wanted to do something that really helped people. I kind of got to the point that makeup in commercials was, it didn't mean enough to me. And I want to do something worthwhile. So with the training to do kundalini and the gong together, I kind of embarked on this journey of helping people inside, change their energy, feel better. And then I see makeup as an extension of that. Makeup for women who, you've got to a stage where your face starts changing, and you wake up and you're going, where did these bags come from? It's not something you ever thought of, and suddenly all you're seeing is those bags. But you can be doing all the internal stuff, but your face is changing, and you don't quite know how to make that kind of transition. And for me, it's kind of working on that energy that somebody has, that individuality that they already have, and showing them that it's there on the outside too.
Get older, and in a society that women are particularly judged by the way we look, or maybe we just have this perception. I don't know, to be honest, but I know a lot of women over 40 say their relationship with makeup changes as they get older. I know I had the gift of having a makeup lesson with yourself recently, and you got me to stay clear from the green and blue eyeshadow, which I have has kind of been my signature look for maybe far too long, and I've stuck with it. I'm just wearing the browns now.
I don't mean to limit you in that. There are greens, but it was more the tone of the green. Yeah, yes. The makeup does change because, perhaps even, the eyeliner that you used to put on that looked quite striking and was your signature look. As your eyes droop slightly, it can start to look hard.
Yeah.
And so but there's a way to soften that. So I think aging beauty is more about softening. It is about embracing where you are, but not just letting it all go. It's just about finding those points and not focusing so much on what you've lost, but seeing, seeing what you've got now.
Yeah, that's a really beautiful way to put it. When you speak about that, it makes you think of my friend, and she's in the late 70s, and she's so beautiful because she looks really nice, but she also, her inner light comes through, and she really knows who she is, and I find that deeply inspiring. But I guess not everyone has the ability to know that about themselves.
No, I think that's going back to what you said about women feel so judged, but I think women are the worst people to judge themselves. I mean, if you look in the mirror, you're looking critically. It's like, what's wrong here? What do I need to take out? Rather than, hey, I'm here.
Yeah.
And I think men are far more accepting of the way they look. They don't judge themselves as harshly as we judge ourselves. And it does come from years of having to look like this, having to look like that. This is a certain way. The restrictions that there were when we were younger.
Yes.
Maybe they're not so much now. But then nobody wants to be that invisible older woman. You don't want to be referred, things happen.
Yes.
Your body shape changes, your skin changes, your hair changes. And it's finding the way to find the beauty in that and the confidence in that. What we want is, what beauty is a freedom, isn't it? It's a sense of freedom. It's feeling free. It's like when you've been on the beach for a couple of weeks and you're brown and you're relaxed. You're beautiful.
I had this vision. Do you think it's because you feel relaxed and accepting of oneself?
Yeah, and I think the sun has a lot to do with it, and the rest, and the not having to be whoever you are in your work, whoever you are, in your life, in your area or whatever. You feel a bit freer. And it's that freedom and that sense of freedom, and confidence, which is what the beauty is about, isn't it? That's what you double take on somebody, not somebody who's really made up and has the perfect figure, or it's the quirks, it's that individuality. It's like bright red lipstick on a 75-year-old woman.
Yes.
You know, it's
Yeah.
that to me is the beauty.
Oh, and there's a whole industry, or rather, there's like this all like bracing like models, or older models, like some of them are in the hundreds. Like I know one model, I can't remember her name, but she's like 100, and it's all. So they, I think what you're saying and what I'm feeling is that you, dear listeners, that you can embrace and accept and love yourself, but also kind of not be invisible, like Nina said. So, Nina, what are some of the biggest myths or misunderstandings you see with relationship with women and makeup as they get older? And I know your new business is helping to define beauty at this stage in their life.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that. I would say a lot of the stuff that comes on right now, the things like, if you're a certain age, you can't do this, you can't, it's the can'ts, I think. There are certain products that won't look so good on your skin. You can't put on with that much ease. But I was thinking about this question, and actually a few weeks ago I was making up some 20-year-old models. And in the end, I used the same base that I use on older women for them. So it's not so much about you can't use this or this. It's what individually suits you. And the beauty industry has gone a little bit nuts with, again, restricting women. In older women have to wear this, you can't do that. And I find some of the products are excellent and they do help, but a lot of them are just
Gimmicks.
yeah, it's just selling to another insecurity that we have, or making another insecurity. It's the rules and regulations. I mean, one myth or mistake that has always got me is but they always say when you go to try on a base or foundation, test it on the side of your jawline, because that will match your neck. But the problem is, as you get older, or even if you're younger, if you've got, high color in your skin, or your pores are more visible, you're not going to know if that's covering them or hiding them. And so what I always say to everybody is, just put the base, take the tester, put it or as much on your face as you possibly, on all over your face, cover the areas that you want covered, and then go outside and see what it looks like in the daylight. So it is really very much about what you see rather than what you're told you should wear.
Yeah. There's all these things that come on Instagram and they're saying, oh, this is going to go wrong with you, this, and this. And I'm just thinking, like, if you listen to it all, you'd be completely like paranoid.
You're paranoid and also feel really ineffective, because I some of them are great to watch, and some of them, there are the general rules, but the thing is, everybody's face is so different. So, if you follow the rules to where you should now do your eyeliner from one Instagram post, you're going to feel like a failure because maybe your eye doesn't fall in that same way. And makeup is about millimeters. It's moving it millimeters.
I like that moving it millimeters.
Yeah.
And you've been in the industry for years. So what shifts have you noticed in what women want and what they look? Has it changed much at all?
I would say it has, because if you think about my mother's generation, it's, the first start bases were very heavy then. They were thicker. They were real, you put on your face, as it were. And it's like they slightly stepped into that older woman role, whereas we don't. We've still got that kind of, it's different. It's a different energy. It's not like, oh, okay, I've reached this point, I'm settled. Nobody's settled. There's divorce, there's grief. So many people are still working harder than they worked before, in their 50s, in their 60s. So, and also I think COVID had a lot to do with the change in it. When it suddenly started, before, it's like if you had grey hair, you were an old woman. But then such people started embracing their grey hair, and it's beautiful.
Andy McDowell, she looks great.
Yeah. And it's that freedom. It's going back to feeling that youthfulness, or wanting to feel that youthfulness, not wearing a full face of makeup, but using the makeup to bring out a freshness. You want that radiance, don't you? You wake up in the morning, there's a little bit of work to do. I've noticed my face takes a lot longer to wake up than my body now. And that's accepting that. But also, it doesn't mean, okay, I'm washed out. It just means that it takes that time. But, the basis we want, the look we want now is more to lift our faces as opposed to mask our faces.
Yeah, so working with what we've got to kind of, rather than trying to change it.
Keep that, and it's that element of freedom and freshness again, isn't it? It's an element of embracing natural, but not just being, there's natural and there's embracing natural. Natural takes a bit of work.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not a lot, it's not an hour's work, but a little bit of work. A little bit of tweaking.
A little bit of tweaking here and there. I'm a real good fan. I've not had time to do it this week, but generally I like to do facial like massage or yoga, and I find that helps my face a lot. On the time I've had time to do it, it kind of makes it feel a bit more lifted. At the very least, it kind of relaxes that startled look I could sometimes have from looking at a computer all day. So
yeah, facial yoga is very effective, but you have to be quite disciplined about it.
Yes, definitely. But I think it's definitely worth it, dear listeners. And there's so many things on YouTube. So you started a new business, Nina, which is it's always a brave move, and I always find it inspiring people that can start a new business. What inspired you to create something specifically for women over 40, and what's been the most rewarding or challenging part of that so far?
Well, again, that slightly came out of the blue. I thought, I'm not going to do makeup. I'm going to just focus on the gong and yoga, which I did for a few years. But I missed working on people specifically. And really, a couple of people, actually one from my gong class, asked me their advice on makeup. And I did it as a favor. And I thought, actually, I really like this. And then other people started asking. I thought, there's a real need for. It's something I know. It's something I know really well. I'm good at, and there's a real need for people to learn how to naturally look good. It's easy to blank out the face and stick on lots of makeup or not bother. But there's a big gap in between, if you like.
I like that. So it kind of came your way with someone asking, and obviously your expertise, and you enjoyed it. That's lovely.
And I think, the biggest for me, I get real pleasure out of somebody feeling better about that I've been able to make somebody feel better. I remember once I was working, can't remember what I was working on, something Channel 4, I think. And an old lady came in and she was wheeled in. And, when somebody, all you see around them, their energy is grey, they are grey. There was so nothing coming from her. And she was 86. I think it was an interview for something. And she was, I don't wear makeup, I don't bother with that, it's not going to make a difference. And I said, well, what about if I just do a little bit of this? And by the end of it, she was a different human being, and she was sitting up straight in her chair and she was asking me what I used, where I got it. It was like she came alive. And that image always stayed with me. It's like that there is a power in teaching someone or showing someone what their potential is in their face, I guess. I mean, the challenges are business side of it. You know, I can make up 1,000 people, no problem. But the sitting down and doing the business and doing the posting, that for me is a challenge.
Yes, yeah, it's hard, that side, isn't it? Wow.
I think especially for my generation.
Hello, dear listeners, and I'm asking for your help now. Please help us to continue making great content for listeners everywhere. So we've been doing the show now since June 2020. A little bit of inspiration goes a long way, and you just don't know how an episode may inspire someone to make some positive changes for their life. Why do I need your help? Well, you can now sponsor the show for as little as $3 a month, and you can cancel it at any time. If you just go to the show notes, you will see a link there on how to sponsor the show, or go to shamanichealings.earth and look at the page that says sponsor the show, and you can find more details there. Yeah, but you're overcoming it.
Yeah, I'm working at it.
Brilliant. And as I was looking on your Instagram, you've made up the likes of Liz Hurley, and used to do the makeup on Red Dwarf. That I used to love that show. I didn't even know it was you that did it. It's an amazing show.
Yeah, I did 2 seasons on. I made up Crichton mainly because it took so long to do that every day. I mean, oh my God, yeah, that put me off prosthetics.
Wow.
Because 1 millimeter out and you're pulling, you know, he's in pain for the whole shooting session.
Oh wow.
You know, it's where it was you're gluing his face basically.
Oh wow. So. Wow. Yeah, for those dear listeners, if you don't know who Crichton is, if you just Google Red Dwarf and Crichton, you'll see a picture and you'll see how intricate this makeup was.
It was a whole rubber helmet that we had to put in place on.
Oh wow. Wow.
But it was a great experience, yeah. And Elizabeth Hurley, I did when she was very young. I made her up for 3 months on probably my best job ever. We were out in Dominica and the Caribbean for 3 months, and that was incredible.
Wow,
she was great.
Yeah, she's such an icon. Actually, so many women describe that when they get to midlife, or not just women exclusively, but it's a kind of spiritual awakening. I guess going through the change, all these kind of things. From your experience, how does embracing that transformation change the way we approach beauty and confidence?
Well, that's a tough one. For me personally, I wouldn't say it was a spiritual awakening. And for a lot of women, it's just like, what the hell is going on? It's like, you know, you don't sleep. Suddenly you don't sleep and you forget things. I mean, to be honest, I have always forgotten things. I've always been really scatty, but it's worse. And trying to hold it together. It's a bit like, I think when you're pregnant and you get to the last term, you just know you can't hold it together. So you just embrace it. And there's quite a loveliness in that. I think the confidence comes in the fact that you don't have to be the one that people look at and judge all the time. You know, it's not about invisible, but you're not that. It's like you're not on the front cover anymore.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can sit back in those pages and
yes.
It doesn't matter that you've put on half a stone because nobody's it's like the expectation goes and you feel kind of comfortable in not being seen for a bit and something else kind of evolves from it and you feel comfortable in being a bit scatty and then I guess that's where the spiritual awakening comes. There's a freedom in that.
You're just embracing it and just allowing it to kind of. I like that.
I think so.
Yeah. It's kind of.
I mean, it's hell for a lot of women. It's really,
it can be hell for a lot of women, can't it?
Yeah.
Feeling good about oneself is a way to help navigate through all that. And I know that you've helped so many people feel their best. When when you think about your own spiritual journey through gong, yoga, etc., and now this business, what does beauty mean to you today?
Well, I think, oh God, beauty is everywhere, isn't it? I think when you're younger, you're very limited in what is beautiful and what is not. As you get older, it expands, doesn't it? Beauty doesn't get limited to anything. But beauty is the kind of, it does begin with the energy inside, and that's a bit contradictory, because a lot of the time, well, how can you have this great energy when you haven't slept, or you've been up since 3 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
or you're worn out, or you're overthinking, all those things. But actually, that self-care is essential. And the beauty, yes, it does. It does show in your face. But I think, you have to you also have to find that beauty, and not focus on the negative. It's like going to, an art gallery, and you look at art, and you get filled with something, or you go into the, nature, and there's this beautiful tree. Beauty transcends something. It takes you somewhere else. It elevates you.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of it's like a blast of uplifting
Yeah,
energy. It's like really connected with like source, or in the zone. Like, if you, I don't know, one time I saw this beautiful piece of artwork in this shop. I couldn't afford to buy it, but it just made my soul sing.
yeah. It's all of that, isn't it?
I'm trying to help my listeners a lot, and that's why I think this is such a good show to have you on today. And I wanted to ask you, we also all start out with good intentions, but keeping up with positive habits can be tough. What do you think tends to get in the way, and how can we overcome it? Are there any tips that you can give us?
I think what gets in the way is while we're trying to achieve something, well, it's like a diet, or, I don't know, a facial routine, an exercise, whatever. While we're trying to get there, we can do it. We've got all that energy, and adrenaline. We push ourselves, but it's only a limited amount of time we can stay on that level. Then it gets, I think for me, it's boredom.
Mm.
It's maintenance. And that's boring, because you're not seeing these dramatic changes anymore. You're not on that path to the dramatic the drive. So it's the boredom that gets you. And then you slump, and then you slump, and then you beat yourself up for slumping. And then, if you're anything like me, you lie in bed going, oh, I should be doing this, and I'm not. But I think you take out that should. What I've learned very recently is I do it in sound bites. Just do 5 minutes, and rather than saying, I should do this, I'm going to experiment with this.
I like that. Experiment.
And it's not setting yourself up for failure. It's like 5 minutes you can allocate. And no, maybe I should do my practice for an hour. No, I'm going to do 5 minutes, and then let that extend. I think it's the pressure we put on ourselves. And then you do reach a boredom level, and then maybe you have to change it a bit.
Yeah. It's like micro habits, I think, is like what you're describing, like the five, like to do 5 minutes, because it is, sometimes we can talk ourselves out of doing things, can't we? We think, oh, actually, like, why bother? But nothing, I know from experience, nothing ever changes unless we do some kind of new positive habit. Well, none of us are perfect, and when our listeners hear about the difficulties that other people have and how they overcome it, I always think it's a really wonderful gift.
Because you think you're the only one, don't you? You think everyone else is going out. They look at those runners, look at they're practicing every day, they're doing this. And you start, it comes back to judgment, doesn't it? And when you're in judgment, you can't grow, you can't change.
Absolutely. So if I'm a listener, if there's a one small thing that they can do to feel more elevated and beautiful and more confident,
I would say today I'm thinking, look for the good points in you. Look for the beauty in you that's there, rather than look for the negative. Look, just find one thing that you like about yourself, your smile, your whatever, or your lips, if we're talking about beauty, and bring that out. Focus on bringing that out. If it's your eyes, if it's your lips, if it's, work on that. If it's your hair, a jumper you love that lifts you.
Yeah, because things like that can make a big difference, can't they?
Oh,
I think
they make a huge difference. You can be feeling a bit, tired, but when you see this kind of color on your clothes, or an uplifting, red jumper or whatever it is, or something that's soft and cozy, you feel okay. It's all about preparing it, very much. It's not like we're going into battle, but it's like preparing ourselves to get through something.
What's the one thing you wish everyone knew about beauty and self-worth?
It's a very hard thing to kind of get your head around, that it doesn't come from external validation. It comes from inside. But at the same time, I think external validation is important. If I see somebody who's looks great, or has, something nice about them, a stranger, I will mention it to them, because it uplifts their day. It also uplifts you, doesn't it? If you see everybody in the same clothes on the tube in the same colours, you kind of sink. We're so, as human beings, we're so attached to everybody else's energy. We pick it up and you sink, don't you? But you see somebody in a bright coloured this, or somebody who's made an effort. It might not be your style. It doesn't matter. It perks you up a bit. It lifts you. It's a really important, subtle thing, I think. But I think as human beings, we're so vulnerable to these energies that.
Yeah. The point you're saying is that when we see someone who's really being themselves, it kind of reminds us to be ourselves. So if I'm a listener and I'd like to work with you, Nina, I do have an international audience. Maybe it's through makeup, or through your brand new business, your makeup business, or the gong or yoga. How can they reach you, and what's the best course of action?
You can find me on my website, ninagan.com. This November, I've just posted a thing. So if you book me this November, you don't have to take it in November for a makeup course. I think there's £100 off my one-to-ones, and there's discounts anyway.
Wonderful.
So just to give people the lift before Christmas, they might want to know what suits them, what would look better.
That's such a good idea with the party season coming up. Gifts for loved ones as well.
Yeah, it's been really lovely talking to you, and thank you for having me on this.
I've really enjoyed it. As promised, here is your meditation inspired by today's show. Top tips for the meditation is either sit nice and cross-legged on the floor with a nice straight back. Always nice to sit on a block or a cushion. Or if that's not available for you, you sit in a chair with the back nice and straight. The important thing is you're not slouching. And if you're doing something that requires your concentration, all you need to do is just pause this and you can reconvene the meditation at a time that is good for you. If you're doing the meditation, let's begin. So, as you slowly and gently sit there, just start to connect with your body and allow your mind to be quiet. Take a slow, deep breath in and out through the nostrils, and just feel as if you surrender and settle into the moment. You feel a sense of quietness. And in your imagination, you're going to imagine a beautiful mirror. It's a full-length mirror surrounded by ornate patterns in a room where the light is honest. And in that imagination, in that imagined thought, you look into this mirror and you see your face. your eyes, your being, and you notice yourself looking back at you via the reflection. All that you have been through in your life, learnt, loved and hated. But whatever path you've been on, that reflection is you. Take another deep breath. And as you breathe, you feel you can relax even more as you envision yourself again in that mirror. That honest picture of who you are. You meet your gaze again and you allow your presence to be seen as the light cascades in the window. You have no judgment of what you behold. Maybe your hair has a few more grey hairs now than when you were young. A few more gentle expression lines. Perhaps you don't feel the same as what you were. But instead of focusing on that, can you look into that mirror and see the divinity of your soul? And tell yourself that you are beautiful. What one small thing can you appreciate about yourself? One small thing you can appreciate about yourself. Maybe it's the colour of your hair, the way you smile. Focus on that. And also an internal aspect about how brave you can be sometimes, or how you have this kindness about you. You are a resilient, amazing being as you let the warmth of the moment of this beautiful mirror, which is a reflection of your soul, and you let go of anything that stops you from feeling total and utter self-love. You look to that mirror as if it's eyes into your soul, and you tell yourself, I love you, I love you, I love me completely. And you thank the mirror and you slowly come back into the moment, come back into the room, knowing that you are always worthy. So thank you so much, dear listeners, for taking the time to listen and support our show today. And if you want any more information on what we have to offer, check out shamanichealings.earth for more information.